Okay, a pleasant morning to each and every one. I hope you're all ready for our class today. So far, how are you feeling today?
Fine,
You
sir.
feel okay? That's good. What about the others? Are you feeling okay, or are you feeling under the weather as well? What about the others?
Okay lang, sir.
Okay, very good. That's nice to hear.
Also fine, sir.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Thank you for your responses. Okay, before we formally begin our class, let's have a picture taking session. I will just stop presenting for a minute. Sam, can you please take a picture of us? Please turn on your
Okay, so
cameras and put on
please
your
open
best
your
smile.
cameras.
On your cue, Sam.
How about Kapuyan and Sanyao? Can you open your cameras?
Smile.
Okay, got it. Alright, so put on your best smiles because I'm going to take a picture now. Okay, one, two, three. Okay, for a moment.
Another one.
One more.
Okay.
One, two, three. Okay, got it.
Okay. Thank you, Sam.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you, students. Let me share again. Window. All right. Is my screen visible to all of you already?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that. Okay. Without further ado, let's begin our class for today. So our topic for today will be on the matter of strategies of an argument. I hope you have your modules with you. Please have a copy of it. Okay, before we really start our class, I would like to remind you about four things, same thing as the previous session. First is to turn off your microphones when you're not recognized or you're not speaking or participating in class. Second is to turn on your cameras at all times so that I can see that you're still attending or you're participating. Third would be to use the raise hand button if you'd like to ask a question or you'd like to interject or you'd like to share something. So please use the raise hand button and don't answer in chorus or all of a sudden. Okay, and fourth is to always be courteous, not only to me or to Ma'am Sam, but to also your classmates. Okay, I hope you're fine with those reminders. And also, please prepare the following. First is pen and paper. Doesn't matter to me what size. As long as you have pen and paper, that's fine by me. Second is a copy of Module 2 for Quarter 2. And of course, third would be your attention and motivation. Okay, and here are the objectives of today's lesson. So first would be you are to articulate the different argumentative strategies and their descriptions. So I hope you'll be able to familiarize yourself with the definition of argumentative strategies. Second would be to create an argumentative essay about a chosen issue. And third would be to appraise the relevance of arguments and reasoning. Okay, now let's have our activity for this morning. Yes, yes, Mr. Bao.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
Have you sent a soft copy po, sir, for the module 2 for English? Because we
Ma'am
haven't
Kalam.
received the hard copy.
Oh, wait. Wait. Thank you for notifying me. I thought Ma'am Kalamba forwarded a copy, but nevertheless, I
Thank you, sir.
just give me a few minutes. I'll be sending. Just a minute. Forward. Okay, I forwarded it already. Is it in your group chat already? You see it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry I thought you already had a copy. Thank you for informing me also. Okay. So while you're trying to download the module, let's have an activity first. So this will be a crossword puzzle entitled Crisscross. Okay, so you don't need to draw the crossword puzzle. You can just uh, on a sheet of paper you can just write the number and your answer directly. Okay, I'll be giving you 5 minutes to answer this activity, and after 5 minutes, we will see if how much you're familiar with these terms or definitions. Okay, it's 9:17. So after 5 minutes, we'll be checking that by 9:22. Okay. Good morning, Ma'am Kalamba.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
All right, it's 9:22. Your 5 minutes are up. Let's now answer the crossword puzzle. Okay. For number one, down, can be tangible or intangible proof. Okay, so the answer to that is evidence. Then number two, the main stance of a statement is called the thesis statement or simply known as the thesis. Number three, appeal to logic is logos. Number four, a statement that somehow contradicts a stance is called a counter argument. Number five, a statement that is for or against something is called an argument. Number six, the appeal to emotion is called pathos. And number seven, a well planned method is called a strategy. And last but never the least, number eight, appeal to authority is called uh, ethos. Okay. So type in the chat box your surname and your score so that I know more or less how much you got. Please be honest when checking your papers. So just type your surname and your score. That's 8 items all in all. Like that. Okay, please start sending your scores so that we can. Okay, we have Mr. Bao. Am I pronouncing your surname correctly, Sir Marco?
Yes, sir. Correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have Bao, Kapuyan, Silmaro, Sanyel. It's okay, Mr. Wong. Gangan. Okay. What about the others? Don't worry, this is just a formative assessment. Okay, so nothing to worry about. This is not recorded. All right, so uh, now that we're done with the formative assessment, let us have another activity. We have here picture analysis. So we have three pictures here. One depicting authority, another depicting emotions, and the third is depicting logic. Okay, now the question for these three pictures is, which is more effective when convincing others? Okay, again, which is more effective when convincing others? Is it authority, emotions, or logic? Would anyone like to volunteer to answer the question? Volunteers? Okay, seeing none, I will call names. Okay. Let's have Miss Silmaro. Miss Silmaro, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what do you think is the which you think is more effective or the most effective among the three when it comes to
In,
convincing other people?
I think emotions, sir.
Emotions.
Be-
Why do you think so?
because I think that's how people connect with each other.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's how people connect with each other. So that your answer is emotion. Thank you for that. What about Mr. Wong? Is Mr. Wong here with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for you, what do you think is the most effective among the three? Is it authority, emotions, or logic?
Also emotions, sir.
Emotions. Okay, what is your reasoning for that?
It's like convincing the others using emotions yourself. You're you're also the one who in that situation. Sir.
Okay, okay, very good. Thank you for your answer. Yes, Miss Kapuyan, what is your answer?
Sir, I think logic is is an effective element to persuade someone because it gives a reader a certain point of view, and it
Mm-hmm.
shows that one idea is more legitimate than another.
Okay, very good. Thank you for your answer. Wow. So logic gives legitimacy to an opinion or to a stance. Wow, thank you for that answer. What about Miss Momokod? Is Miss Momokod with us? Okay, Miss Momokod, what do you think is most effective among the three?
For me, sir, it's logic because when you think critically, sir, about a decision before you make it, it's more likely na mas um, effective or mas better ang decision na outcome.
Okay, that's a nice answer. So it's more effect. The outcome will be more effective using logic. Thank you for that. Okay, so all your answers are valid and correct. Okay, so there's no answer that's really right or wrong. Okay, thank you for your answers. And now let's move on to some guiding questions. Okay, so what do you think were these three ideas about? What do you think is the common topic that binds them? Okay, what are the three ideas about? Any volunteers? Yes, Mr. Bao.
Elements of an argument, sir.
Okay, they could be elements of an argument. Okay, thank you for that. Or we could call them the strategies in making arguments. But at some point, yeah, it's correct. These strategies are indeed elements of an argument. Okay, now the next question is, where do we usually use them? Where do we usually use them? Volunteers? Yes, Mr. Wong.
Sir, I think we use it usually when convincing others sir,
Okay,
or
when convincing
arguing to
others?
others. Sir. Yes.
Okay, very good. We use them when convincing others. Third question, why do we have to reason out or argue with other people? I mean, can't we just agree with each other and call it a day? Or do we really have to argue and reason out with other people? Why is there a need for us to do that? Any volunteers? Going one. Okay, Mr. Bao.
Not everyone has the same understanding of one idea, sir. So everyone has different opinions about this, and they think that this is correct. So they
Okay, that's a nice
defend
answer.
about this.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that, Mr. Bao. It's a very nice answer. Indeed, it is correct. The reason why we have to argue with other people is because we're trying to convince them because we perceive things differently. I may see something as this, you may see something as that. Okay, that's correct. What and the last question, how important are these when arguing or reasoning out? Or these referring to the three pictures a while ago, authority, emotions, and logic. How important are these when arguing or reasoning out? Any volunteers? Hearing none, let's have Miss Giangan. Let's give Miss Giangan a chance. Is Miss Giangan here with us? Hello, Miss Giangan. Okay, so he's not responding. What about Miss Berdin? Is Miss Berdin with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how important are those three a while ago when arguing or reasoning out? So we
Im-
had. Okay, go ahead.
it is important, sir, to help it prove your own opinion.
It helps prove your opinion or your stance. Okay, what about Mr. Wong? You were raising your hand a while ago. Let's hear from you. So, how important were those three?
It's important, sir, to prove that the argument is true or false, sir, and that
Okay, very good.
different
Thank you for.
perspective also.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, let's have the last one, Miss Kapuyan. What's your take on the question?
These elements or strategies are important when arguing or reasoning out because it helps us to express and point out our stand to an argument.
Okay, impressive. Thank you for your answer. All your answers were very good, huh? So I think I don't need to discuss much because it seems you're well proficient. Okay, now let's move on to our lesson proper, which is about arguments and strategies. Okay, now first let us define what is an argument. Now, according to the module, an argument is a logical and philosophical series of statements. Take note, it is a logical and philosophical series of statements. So it's not only one statement just to prove your assertion, it's a series of statements to support it. And we use logic and philosophy when making an argument. Now, the main point of an argument is to determine the degree of truth or how true is a certain opinion, a certain stance about a certain issue. Because truth isn't absolute. So, truth isn't black and white, like a statement is 100% true. For some, it may be 100% true. For others, it may be 50%. For some, it may be 30%. Some may be 75% or 78%. It really depends on the person. So that is why we are determining the degree of truth or how true is a statement. Understood? Did you
Sir.
understand the explanation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Now, there are other definitions of an argument. Now, according to Klein in 2018, an argument is a deliberate attempt to move beyond just making an assertion. So when you're just making an assertion, you're just saying, "I'm in favor of this. I'm not in favor of that." Now, an argument is when you are going beyond just saying you're for or against something. So you prove or you explain why you're for or against something. Because when you're just saying you're for something, what does it matter? What does it matter to us? So if you say I'm against online classes, and then you don't provide anything else, so we as the audience would say, okay, so if you so what if you're against online classes? So that is why you have to prove your assertion so that we will understand why you're against online classes or why you're for online classes. Okay, so you try to support your assertion and you are trying to give us good reason why we should believe you. You're giving us evidence or you're giving us basis why we should believe you or why we should side with you. Okay, and uh, this this other definition is from an old movie called Monty Python. It says an argument is an intellectual process. So what does it mean by an argument is an intellectual process? It's related to what was mentioned a while ago. We use logic and philosophy. An argument is not born out of your whim. Like, okay, felt cute, might argue later. No, an argument is a product of your intellect, a product of your thinking, of your reasoning. Okay, so I hope the definition of an argument is clear to all of you. Okay, we have here a sample essay. So it's entitled "Why You Should Start Learning a Foreign Language." May I ask students to read this? Let's have Miss, who is this? Maginsay. Miss Maginsay, are you here with us?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Dili daw maka-mic si Apple, sir. Sir Maginsan.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry for that. Okay. I hope you can resolve the problem with your microphone. But for now, let's move on to Miss Saniel. Is Miss Saniel with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you read the text in blue?
Okay po. Why you should start learning a foreign language. It is difficult to deny the wisdom of these words. Every language is not just a number of rules and grammatical constructions, allowing you to understand other people. It is rather a reflection and at the same time a determinant of mentality, the way of thinking of the people who speak it. Learning a language ideally involves
Okay,
not
okay.
only memorizing.
Just until the
Ay,
blue text.
sorry po, sir.
It's okay.
Sorry
Thank
po.
you very much. Okay, so who would like to read the green text? Let's have Miss Silmaro.
Learning a language ideally involves not only memorizing a bunch of new words, but also studying its native country's culture and history, digging into its contemporary context, following its evolution. Believe it or not, but your native language has shaped your personality in the same way your parents and surroundings have.
Okay, thank you very much. And for the last part, uh, sorry, may I have Mr. Bao to read to us the last part?
Yes, sir. Logically, the more languages you know, the more diverse and profound of a person you can become. By understanding
Paradigms.
paradigms different from yours, you can broaden your outlook and become more open-minded. You'll be able to read between the lines, developing your communications with other people not just in a regular verbal way, but in the dimension of gestures, circumlocutions,
Yep.
allegor- alleg-
Allegories.
allegories, allegories, etc. You can view it as adopting and integrating a new personality in your mind, which occurs every time you dig deeper into a new language.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, now let's move on to the elements of an argument. And uh, please keep the essay in mind. If you have a copy of the module, you can use it as a basis because we will be using it also for the examples in the elements. Okay, now for the first element of an argument, we have the statement of the argument or the thesis statement. Now, what is this thesis statement? It is the main point or stance of an argument. So, what is the main point that you're trying to tell other people? It is the topic sentence of the argument, and it is the purpose why the author wrote the argument. Let's say for a while ago, we had the article about why you should learn a foreign language. Now, the thesis statement is the main purpose of that article. So, what is the author trying to convince you to do? So, we have here the example. Okay, learning a new language helps your intellectual, social, and personal growth. Okay, so while it was not explicitly mentioned in the article word per word, but it was implied in the article that if you learn a new language, your intellectual, social, and personal uh, aspects will grow when you start expanding your your the languages that you know. Okay. The second element is evidence of the argument, or simply known as the evidence. So, evidence is based on facts, figures, credible sources, infographics, and many other more. So, its purpose is to justify your thesis statement. So, you're trying to prove your thesis statement. And evidence is needed when you are claiming something. You can't just claim something out of the blue. You need to have solid evidence that people will believe you. Because if you don't have evidence to support your claim, you will not sound credible to other people. They'll just think of you as a mad person or as a rumor monger. So evidence gives you credibility as a person or as a speaker to other people. And of course, it gives weight to your assertion. So the more evidence you can provide, the heavier your assertion will be, and it will be harder for other people to disprove your assertion. And by then, people will really believe what you're saying. Okay, that's the evidence of the argument. And the third element, ah, oh, here are examples of evidences. So in the essay, we have here the examples for the evidence. So logically, the more languages you know, the more diverse and profound of a person you can become. Okay, just a quick question. Are there those of you here who are learning foreign languages aside from English? Yes, Mr. Wong. Are you learning other languages?
Yes, sir.
What language is that?
Chinese, sir.
Chinese. Wow. Chinese is one of the hardest languages to learn, huh? Because it has a lot of characters. Wow, that's brave and really something, Mr. Wong. Wow. Congratulations on that, and I hope yeah, it fares well with you when you in your learning of the language.
Thank you.
What about the others? Are you learning other languages? Okay, let me ask questions. Who among you here are learning Korean? Are Okay, we have two. We have Miss Silmaro and Miss Berdin. Korean. What about Japanese? Nihongo. Nihongo ga hanashimasu ka? Oh, Miss Silmaro is also learning Japanese. Oh, Nihongo ga hanashimasu ka? So that basically means, do you speak Japanese? What about German? If there's someone learning German here, that's really something. None? What about Russian? Are there people learning here Russian? Okay, seems like no one's learning Russian. So far it's Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, which are the languages being learned by the students. Okay, very good to all of you, and I hope you will learn the language or you'll acquire the language successfully. Now, other evidences to the thesis statement was you can broaden your outlook and become more open-minded. So when you learn a language, you become more open-minded about another culture, and you will be able to read between the lines, developing your communications with other people. Okay, so these are examples of evidences to the thesis statement a while ago. Moving on, we have the third element, which is the explanation of the evidence or the counter argument. Now, when a counter argument provides some opposing view to your stance, uh, sometimes it functions that way, sometimes it doesn't. It shows the weakness of an argument. So let's say your argument is for learning foreign languages. So a counter argument will somehow give the weakness of your argument. Like you can say it's expensive to learn a foreign language, it's hard to learn a foreign language. So that somehow is the weakness of your argument to learn a foreign language. And it provides objectivity to your argument. Why? Because when you provide opposing views, you are lessening your bias against about a certain issue. So if you can provide a counter argument, it makes your overall argument objective to listen to, because you're not biased for learning foreign language or against learning foreign language. And last, it expounds your argument. A counter argument can sometimes expound your argument. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. So here are examples of. Here's an example of a counter argument. I'm sorry. So if let's say your argument is learning a language ideally involves not only memorizing a bunch of new words, but also studying its native country's culture and history, digging into its contemporary context following its evolution, then your counter argument would be logically, the more languages you know, the more diverse and profound of a person you can become. So the counter argument here does not oppose the argument, but rather it expounds, it further explains the argument. So that is how a counter argument functions. It can oppose or it can further explain something. Understood? Okay, did you understand my explanation of the elements?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Uh, Okay, now that we're done with the elements of an argument, let us now discuss what is an argumentative essay. Now, an argumentative essay is simply an essay that explains an argument into a well-crafted article, complete, okay, take note, complete with evidences and counter arguments. It is logically arranged to provide sense and coherence. And an argumentative essay is composed of the following parts. So simple, it's introduction, body, and conclusion. However, take note, in the introduction, the problem and the thesis statement will be presented. So in your first paragraph, your main purpose and your problem will be stated in that paragraph. In the body of the essay, you will provide your evidences and counter arguments in this portion, and you have to arrange them logically. You can't just keep sticking evidences or counter arguments wherever you like, because if you just stick your evidences or counter arguments wherever you like, your body won't make sense and your entire essay won't make sense. It won't be coherent, it won't be sensible, and people won't bother reading your essay, or they won't bother agreeing with you. So please take note to arrange your evidences and counter arguments logically and coherently. Okay, and the last part, of course, is the conclusion. Now, in your conclusion, your stance about a certain issue will be restated here, and briefly recap only your key points in the body. So if you have three evidences in the body, just briefly state them in the conclusion. The conclusion should be short and concise and direct to the point. Then end it with a concluding statement so that it doesn't it doesn't seem, how should I say it, bitin in the vernacular. It doesn't seem lacking or hanging. Okay, so that's how you make an argumentative essay. Moving on, we have the strategies, which you mentioned a while ago, or we discussed a while ago. The first strategy is ethos, which appeals to authorities or sources to establish credibility, and it can be derived from personal experience and observations or your personal expertise. So let's say you're a doctor, and you say, my professional opinion would say that you need rest. So that argument has the strategy of ethos, because it's credible, because you're a doctor. You have credibility in that field. Now, an example of this is this sentence. In the past 1,300 years, Earth has not experienced such a warming trend as we have now. So we have here the source or the authority, which is NASA, which is dated in 2016. So when a statement has a source or an authority, so that is ethos. Next is pathos, which appeals to the emotions of the audience. So take note, pathos is about the emotions of the audience. So it stimulates emotional responses to convince people. So you trigger people, you trigger their emotions so that you convince them. So an example of this is through the scientific evidence, though the scientific evidence seems overwhelming in favor of global warming, there are those for various reasons who believe that global warming is a hoax or not empirically verified. Okay, let me ask some students here. Let's have Miss Berdine. Miss Berdine, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do you feel about the statement global warming is a hoax? What are your emotions when you hear such statement or when you read such statement? Does it anger you? Does it amuse you?
I disagree, sir.
Okay, so you disagree. But what do you feel about it? Do you feel angry about the statement that global warming is a hoax? Or do you feel sad about it? What emotion do you feel?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, okay, but basically you disagree. Basically, we can say that there are emotions there that you disagree with it. Okay, what about Miss Kapuyan? What do you feel about the statement global warming is a hoax?
It makes me somehow sad, sir, that there are people who doesn't take global warming seriously and they believe it's something humorous,
Okay,
sir.
okay, very good. So you feel sad. So that is how pathos works. It it works to trigger your emotions. It can be sadness, it can be happiness, it can be anger, dissent, or it can trigger irritation. Okay, another practical example would be the advertisements of Jollibee. Diba? You notice they're full of emotions. So that's their strategy to convince you to patronize their products. They use your emotions. Understood? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
very
sir.
good. Okay, and the last strategy is logos. It appeals to the logical side. Very self-explanatory. Logos, logic, you get the connection, okay? So again, logos appeals to the logical side of the audience. It uses facts, figures, data, tables, and infographics to prove something. So take note, it provides facts, figures, data, tables, or infographics. It can be a combination of these. It can be one of these. It really depends on uh, the statement. So here's an example. Okay. In fact, the World Meteorological Organization has stated that the global temperature is 1.2 centigrade above pre-industrial levels and for 3 years in a row. So the underlying phrase provides statistical data to the argument. And that is what makes it full of logos, or it it exhibits the strategy of logos. It has been the hottest year on record. And the source is here, Carrington 2016. So, in a nutshell, here, this is how you can simply understand the strategies. Okay, when it's ethos, it appeals to authority. It is objective, and an indicator or a clue is that it provides sources. Okay, if it just provides sources, then that's ethos. It appeals to authority. Okay, next is uh, logos, which appeals to logic. It is objective in nature, or the language is objective. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. Uh, please just take note. These two got interchanged. Okay, when it's logos, you use statistics, facts, and infographics. And if it's pathos, it uses emotions and it is subjective, and it uses triggering language, something to trigger your emotions. Okay, understood? Do you understand these three strategies?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about the others? You understand the three strategies?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
very
sir.
good. So since you've understood the strategies and the elements, okay, let's see what we've learned from today's lesson. Okay, please prepare a pen and paper. Any size of paper will do, just as long as you have piece of paper that's clean. Okay, so please prepare your pen and paper. I hope it's there beside you. So let's have test one, which is identification. Now here are the directions. Identify if the argumentative strategy used in each of the given statements is ethos, pathos, or logos, and write the correct strategy. Okay, number one. I will read the statement twice, okay? Then we move on. Move on. Sure. Okay. If my if my years as a military taught me anything, It's that caution is the best policy in this sort of situation. Again, the first statement is, if my years as a military taught me anything, it's that caution is the best policy in this sort of situation. Okay, okay, are you done? Done? Just raise your hands if you're done. Okay. Okay, we have 5 students. Okay. Okay. Thank you. We now lower your hands. Here, for number 2. There's no price that can be placed on peace of mind. Our advanced security systems will protect the well-being of your family so that you can sleep soundly at night. Again, for number 2, there's no price that can be placed on peace of mind. Our advanced security systems will protect the well-being of your family so that you can sleep soundly at night. Okay, and for number 3, research compiled by analysts from NASA as well as organizations from 5 other nations with space programs suggests that a moon colony is viable with international support. Again, research compiled by analysts from NASA as well as organizations from 5 other nations with space programs suggests that a moon colony is viable with international support. Okay, raise your hands if you're done with this slide, that we can move on. Move on. We can move on to the next slide. Okay, very good. You know, lower your hands, thank you. Okay, here we have number 4. The data is perfectly clear. This investment has consistently turned a profit year over year. Again, the data is perfectly clear. This investment has consistently turned a profit year over year. That's for number 4. Okay, and number 5, it's a matter of common sense that people deserve to be treated equally. The Constitution calls it self-evident. Again, it's a matter of common sense that people deserve to be treated equally. The Constitution calls it self-evident. Okay, raise your hands if you're done with this slide because we'll be proceeding to test 2. Okay. Okay, we have about the others. For Miss Kapuyan and Miss Berlin. Okay, raise your hands if you're done with this slide. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next test. Okay. Test 2, multiple choice. Okay, for number 1, read the question twice and the choices will move on. Which of the following statements is the clear definition of an argument? A, it is a written article which observes grammatical construction of statements. B, it refers only to an article written to evaluate any political issues in the society. C, it is a series of statements which intends to determine the degree of truth. Or is it letter D, It is an academic article which serves as a medium to question any curricular inconsistencies. Again, which of the following statements is the clear definition of an argument? Is it A, it is a written article which observes grammatical construction of statements? B, it refers only to an article written to evaluate any political issues in the society? Or is it letter C, it is a series of statements which intends to determine the degree of truth? Or is it letter D, it is an academic article which serves as a medium to question any curricular inconsistencies? Okay, one, two, five. Let's move on to question number 2. What is the purpose of emphasizing the evidence for the argument? Is it A, to explain the pros and cons of the claim? B, to provide support and reasons of the claim? Is it letter C, to express meaning and conclusion of the claim? Or is it letter D, to interpret the good and bad sides of the claim? Again, what is the purpose of emphasizing the evidence for the argument? Is it A, to explain the pros and cons of the claim? Letter B, to provide support and reasons of the claim? C, to express meaning and conclusion of the claim? Or letter D, to interpret the good and bad sides of the claim? Okay, number 3. Which argumentative strategy is expressed in this statement? Again, take note, which argumentative strategy is expressed in this statement? He's a curricular expert for the government. If there's anyone qualified to determine the academic issues, it's him. Is it A, egos, B, ethos, C, logos, or D, pathos? Again, which argumentative strategy is expressed in this statement? He is a curriculum expert for the government. If there's anyone qualified to determine the academic issues, it's him. Is it A, egos, B, ethos, ethos, C, logos, or D, pathos? Okay, let's move on to question number 4 for class 2. What argumentative strategy is used in the statement? The report is perfectly clear. This school has been consistently performing in the past 3 years, even in spite of some academic challenges. Is it A, egos, B, ethos, C, logos, or D, pathos? What argumentative strategy is used in this statement? The report is perfectly clear. The school has been consistently performing in the past 3 years, even in spite of some academic challenges. Is it A, egos, B, ethos, C, logos, or D, pathos? And last question, number 5 for test 2. Which argumentative strategy is highlighted in the statement? After years of being disrespected by many and having countless hours wasted, it's time that I need to take a stand. A, egos, B, ethos, C, logos, D, pathos. Again, which argumentative strategy is highlighted in the statement? After years of being disrespected by many and having countless hours wasted, it's time that I need to take a stand. Is it A, egos, B, ethos, C, logos, or D, pathos? Done? You were able to answer all the questions? Raise your hand if you were able to answer all the questions. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, topics. Okay, so more or less everyone has finished all the questions. Let's move on to our answer key. Okay, please pause when checking your papers. So here are the answers for test one. You have ethos. Number two, pathos. Three, logos. Four, logos. And five, still logos. That's for test one. Okay, someone raised. Okay. Does anyone want to raise an issue? Okay. For test two, here are the answer keys or the answers. Number one is letter C. Number two is letter B. Number three is letter B. Number four is letter C, and number five is letter D. Let me check something. Okay. So those are the answers. Please type in your surname and your scores in the chat box, please. Okay. So you can start sending your surname and your scores so you can record them, okay? So it's out of 10 items. So yeah, Mr. Bao has 9. Okay. Wow, all of you got high scores. Congratulations. Oh, okay. Me me take screenshots of your scores. Okay. Just a while. Okay, so none of you got less than 5. Congratulations to all of you. Give yourselves a hand. Okay, congratulations to all of you for getting high scores. And now let us proceed to the assignment. We have another assignment. Okay. So here are the directions. Write an argumentative essay on the topic, is online education relevant in the Philippine system? This will be your topic or your title. You can use this as your title also. Or this will be your problem. Is online education relevant in the Philippine system? Okay. Your essay should have the following forms of work. You have the introduction, which is stating the problem. Body is to present the evidence for the argument, and a conclusive statement or a conclusive statement Okay, I'm sorry for the technical problem. Wait, let me present my screen again. I'm sorry for the technical problem. Can you see my screen? Or is my screen visible?
There's no presentation yet, sir.
Oh, wait. Let me retry. Okay. Here's your assignment again. Write down it's on education rather than it could be in okay. Your essay should show and to see statements can be one, can be many. Okay. Write narrative essay on every piece of paper. Again, it's up to you if you want a handwritten essay, or you can do it on Microsoft Word. But what do is that you send it to me by messenger, send it to me to my account, and wait. So you are going to a handwritten essay, you get your your handwriting. I can understand it and you properly. Okay, so the deadline of this assignment will still be on or before Sunday. I give you time to craft the essay. Okay, and these are the rubrics for okay. So we have here spelling, use of argument, and sentence construction. So if you have correct spelling in all of your words, you get 4 points. If you sentence construction, also sentences are constructed, so that's 4 points. So total of 12 points. Now for your attendance today, I will be adding I will be adding 3 points to your uh I'm adding 3 points to your essay. Okay? The total number of points is 12. So if you reach 12 points, then that will be it. However, for wait, wait. Yes, correct. Total number of points is 12 points, but if you're what you call if you get less than 12 points and you're in attendance today, I will give you additional 3 points. Is that all right with you? As an incentive or a reward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that will be your reward for attending today's class. Don't worry,
Thank you, sir.
I also have one more list of your attendance. Okay, if you have any questions? So please feel free to ask any questions about the assignment or the or any part discussed. So if you're confused about something, you may clarify. If you want to react about something, you can. And if you like to about something, maybe the assignment, uh, answer request anything. Does anyone want to raise anything? Question? You may raise your hand. Yeah, here on Gmeet. No questions, no concerns, no clarifications. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, seeing none. Oh, that ends our class for today. Thank you very much, attending students. And before we end our our class, let's have a final picture taking, final attendance. Please turn on your camera and for our final attendance. Let me stop presenting.
Okay, please turn on your cameras.
There you go. Okay, put on your best smile.
Okay, let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Wait for a moment. Okay, last one. 1, 2, 3. Finally.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Thank you, students, for attending today's section. Please submit your assignments on or before Sunday. And take care and God bless. God bless all of you. Yeah,
Thank you,
our
sir.
class says thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Goodbye.
Yes, sir.
See you next next meeting. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you,
Recording
Ma.
May. Welcome.
Yeah.
Better karon. Buyag.
Yeah, we have. Maglagay na. Stop recording.